So from there, when he tells Swambhu Manu tells Brahma that he has to recover the earth planet, then I can start populating. So then Brahma prays, and then Lord Varahadev appears from his nostril, and then grows in size and retrieves the earth from the bottom of the Garbhoda ocean. Okay, and then very slightly he mentions that he came out, he met with Hiranyaksha, he killed him. Then the sages, glorified the Lord, and then the Lord went back. So Vidur says, एक मिनट, I want to know more. मुझे वराहदेव के बारे में और थोड़ा बताओ ना, आप इतना एकदम फटाफट भगा रहे हो. Tell me more, right? So then Maitreya tells the story like we discussed last few times about Diti and Kashyap. That is what we had discussed. Diti and Kashyap. Diti's desire to enjoy union with her husband, but at an inauspicious time. So Sham ke samay, So Kashyap warns her, but she doesn't listen. So then they have the union, but as a result of that, what happens? He foretells. वो पहले predict करता है कि as a result, I would have two children, two sons, but they will be horrible because they were conceived in bad consciousness at bad time. They will be horrible. They will cause suffering on all living entities, and finally they will be killed by the Lord Himself. Well, yeah. So this is what he tells her, and then just by her pregnancy, there is darkness and all horrible things going on everywhere. So the demigods get bewildered. They approach Brahma. क्या चल रहा है? So Prabhupada makes a point that when we people like us, when we have problems, what do we try to do? We try to solve them ourselves, right? But when the demigods have problems, they go to the authority. They go to their authority and ask, "क्या करना चाहिए?" They don't try to solve everything themselves. Something is bewildering. They go to the authority. So they went to Brahma, and then Brahma tells them the story of Jay and Vijay, which is what we discussed last time. Before Ramayana. Jay and Vijay ka story where they were cursed by the four Kumaras who went to Vaikuntha to meet Lord Narayan, but Jay Vijay stopped them at the gate. And then, out of anger, they cursed them that you will be born in the material world. And we discussed about what is the description of Vaikuntha and the very beautiful response that Lord Narayan gives to Jay and Vijay and the four Kumaras. Because Jay and Vijay are now thinking, "Hum to gaye, we are losing the association of the Lord." And four Kumaras are also feeling regret that we have cursed the devotees of the Lord. Now, definitely, Lord is not pleased by this. So both are, in a bewildered state. So Lord comes and how He handles the whole situation. So now we come back to the current situation that Brahma explains that ये सब हुआ था और ये जो व्यक्ति जिनको कर्स हुआ था, they are born in the womb of Diti and they will ultimately be killed by the Lord. So don't worry. Okay. So this brings us to the current where we are right now. Okay, the 17th chapter of third canto. So everyone clear the flow? It is still confusing, I know, but at least कुछ एक हद तक आप लोग एक आइडिया बैठ गए कहाँ से शुरू हुआ था हमारा जर्नी कहाँ से शुरू हुआ था 1 साल हो गया आई थिंक ना भागवत मुझे नहीं है yeah the journey where it started and where we have arrived right now where we are so now Diti she is apprehensive उसको तो डर लगा है कि मेरा my sons will come out and उत्पात मचाएंगे So she doesn't deliver only. वो अपना womb में वो बच्चे को पकड़ के रखती है. For a full 100 years, she holds back her pregnancy. She doesn't allow the child to be born at all. But then finally, after 100 years, she finally gives birth to these two demons. Moment they are born, again there are many. So the 17th chapter, good part of the 17th chapter describes what natural disturbances happened when Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu were born. मतलब उनके सिर्फ जन्म लेने से क्या उत्पात मच गया अभी तक उन्होंने कुछ किया नहीं था just जन्म लिया right just took birth and all kinds of natural disturbances are described the 17th chapter if you read you'll see many things are mentioned like storms were there and lightning without reason donkeys running about hither and braying loudly, due to which the cows, cows became very afraid. They started barking in school. बहुत बड़ा description दिया है कि सिर्फ उनके पैदा होने से कितना inauspicious हो गया. So now Prabhupada makes a very nice observation here. Actually, Prabhupada says that whenever natural disturbances occur on the planet, मतलब ये जो डिस्टर्बेंस, सी रेन तो आता ही है, गर्मी तो होती ही है, ठंडी तो होती ही है, राइट? In snowy regions it snows, in hot regions it becomes very hot, right? ये तो होता ही है. But sometimes something extraordinary happens. मतलब कुछ जरूरत से ज्यादा बारिश होता है और उसमें मतलब 1,500 लोग मर जाते हैं, जैसा 26 जुलाई 2005 उस तरह का. या फिर rivers cross their banks. Rivers always flow in a, मतलब आप सोचो भगवान का अरेंजमेंट कितना परफेक्ट है, everything so perfectly arranged by the Lord that even the river never crosses its banks. It always stays within the, the, उसका जो क्या बोलते हैं उसको, हाँ हाँ उसका जो मर्यादा के अंदर रहता है, it always stays. But sometimes the rivers overflow, like it happened in Haridwar. Ganges overflowed, all the houses along the banks all started getting washed away, right? So, what Prabhupada is making a point, he is saying that when such natural disturbances occur, we should understand that a demon has taken birth. Right? Because it is the earth giving you an indication कि बाबा कोई महान demon अभी भाग लेगा हमारे pastimes में यहाँ पे. So he said that we should understand, and therefore Prabhupada then makes the point that that is why in the Vedic system, even see why Kashyapa was so particular that no, abhi nahi, later on. She said no, abhi. He says no, not now. Auspicious nahi hai. But she insists, right? So our Vedic system talks about the system of Garbhadhan Samskar. Garbhadhan Samskar means even how a woman is impregnated by the husband. There is a process for that also. Like in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has given us a training that whenever you are procreating, whenever you are trying to have a child, mother and father, should both chant 50 rounds, 50, at least 50 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then procreate. अब यहाँ बोलेंगे इसका क्या कारण है? What could the reason be? The reason is so that mother, father, if you see, when we chant 16 rounds, if you chant nicely, 16 rounds में ही ना ऐसा रोने लगता है. You start feeling that vibration. If you have chanted nice, if you don't feel anything, you feel very relaxed, एकदम ऐसा हल्का लग रहा है, that means आपने chanting किया ही नहीं बराबर से. हाँ? वो उतना एक इंडिकेटर होता है अपने लिए. If you are feeling very light, relaxed, फ्रेश लग रहा है जपा करके क्लास, मतलब आपने जपा बराबर किया नहीं. पर अगर आपने किया जपा 16 माला में ही you start feeling something. But if you chant 50 rounds, whether you chant in spaced out or you chant nicely, after 50 rounds, your consciousness is full of okay, ऐसा दब जाते हैं, ऐसा stuck हो जाते हैं आपके consciousness. In that consciousness, we pray to the Lord and then we try, then your likelihood of inviting a good soul into the womb of the mother is very high. This is called Garbhadan Samskar. It's a samskar. They say there are 9 samskaras, right? I don't know, 16. 16 samskaras that are there from birth till the Anteshti. So Garbhadan to Anteshti, final. So ये जब संस्कार सबसे पहला गर्भाधान है. And if this Garbhadan is not done, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, that in today's world, ये Garbhadan का concept ही नहीं, it's not there, right? I had never heard of it till I came to ISKCON. पहली बार सुना, right? So Prabhupada says that what Arjuna speaks in Gita, he says Varna Sankara Jayate, right? That if the men are killed, then women will be unprotected, and then unscrupulous men will take advantage, and Varna Sankara will be born. Meaning children who are not born out of Garbhadan Sanskar, children who are born out of wedlock, out of marriage, they are likely to be this Varna Sankara. So it's a very powerful point Prabhupada makes that when these kind of natural disturbances happen, understand that some Varuna Sankara is some major people is being born. Right? Another interesting point that comes out, you know, uh, he says that first child that came out was Hiranyaksha, and the second child who came out, of the womb was Hiranyakashipu. Okay, both matlab, Mahademons, right? But a very interesting point that Prabhupada makes that of the two, who is elder? Hiranyakashipu. Why? Because he came out second. So the concept he mentions that there is a scripture called Pinda Siddhi. There is a scripture called Pinda Siddhi which actually describes the process of pregnancy and the whole phrase. So he says that the first egg, the first egg which gets fertilized, वो पहला जो फर्टिलाइज होता है वो बच्चा पीछे रहता है एंड उसके बाद जो फर्टिलाइज होता है वो आगे रहता है सो दैट मींस दैट वन इज एल्डर द वन व्हिच गॉट फर्टिलाइज्ड द वन हु इज पीछे so this is described also in some scripture called Pindasi. Now we have to understand what our scriptures are. See, today with whatever is happening in the world, people, like I have not seen it, but people are talking about this Kerala story, Kerala files or whatever, and they're saying that how the Hindus don't know their own thing, and that's why they're being misled. It's a fact. It's a fact. हम लोग को कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है. We don't know anything what is there in our scriptures, and very easy for someone to just come and throw two statements at you, and you will get bewildered. अरे, हाँ यार सही बोल रहा है, सही तो बोल रहा है क्या? You get confused. So if we know and we understand, like last week I was talking to one devotee. So he was mentioning that there was one person who was born. Did I mention? I don't think I mentioned. So there was a person who was born, and when he was born, his mother father did not note down. मतलब शायद uneducated रहेंगे इतना पता नहीं क्या. They didn't note down his date of birth. They didn't note down his time of birth. And then when he grew up, they were actually looking at how do we उसका एक वो बोलते हैं ना जातक बनाने का वो हॉरोस्कोप बनाने का उसका शादी करवाने के लिए. So when they wanted to make horoscope में पहला क्या पूछते हैं? Date of birth, time of birth. है ही नहीं व्यक्ति का कभी रिकॉर्ड रखा ही नहीं था. मतलब बड़ा हो गया. So then what they did, someone recommended to them that there are these नाड़ी शास्त्र वाले जो लोग हैं जो आपका thumb print देख के they'll see your thumbprint, and based on your thumbprint they will identify your date of birth and तुम्हारा पूरा कुंडली निकालेंगे उसमें. तो इतना सूक्ष्म हमारे शास्त्रों में इंफॉर्मेशन दिया गया है और इसको क्या बोला जाता है? उपवेद. दिस इज नॉट कॉल्ड वेदा. दिस इज नॉट एन वेदास. वेदास इज एक अलग जो सब्सिडियरी मतलब नॉट सो इम्पोर्टेंट मतलब एज वेदास. आयुर्वेद ये अर्थशास्त्र एंड ऑल दिस उपवेद मतलब हाँ ये भी है, ये भी देख लो टेक्स्ट. और ये इतना हाई फाई है और ये हमको इसका जानकारी ही नहीं. We feel our Varaha was a mythology. So we should be proud. We should understand what is our culture, what our scripture holds, what Gita holds. गीता भागवत पढ़ने में हमारी जिंदगी निकल जाएगी और हम लोग कुछ समझ नहीं पाए. धनुर्वेदा, धनुर्वेदा. So many things are there which we are considered as Upaveda, right? So like that. Anyway, coming back. So Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they were born. They grew as tall as mountains. मतलब राक्षस were भयंकर, powerful. Their bodies were like steel. They were very powerful. They bedecked their body with gold. Hiranya means gold. So Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, their bodies were always covered with gold. And they were equipped with boons from Lord Brahma. Both of them did terrible penances and got boons from Brahma. which made them practically immortal. मतलब कोई मार ही नहीं सकता है उनको, ऐसा वो लोग हो गए. And because of that, if somebody is immortal and they have bad intentions, right, then they become fearless. डर ही नहीं लगता कि हमें कोई कुछ, मतलब today those who are like, if you see Russia today, right, Russia is fighting against which one? Ukraine is fighting against Ukraine. Now, why Russia is able to fight like this? Because they are powerful, they have nuclear weapons, they know they have support of China. यूएस हम पे जरा भी कुछ करने गया तो हम वर्ल्ड वॉर शुरू कर देंगे. मतलब धमकी खुले आम, जो करना कर लो, हम तो अटैक करके रहे. डू व्हाट यू वांट. This is power. That power is there. It gets misused. As they say, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. So, with that boons that they got, the power they got from Brahma, they started, conquering all the worlds. So, it is described this Hiranyaksha, the younger brother. He was so, like he wanted to show his elder brother कि मैं आपका सेवक हूँ. I am your servant. And he started roaming the whole world and searching for people to defeat. Went to this club and started defeating, and fearless because उसको कोई मार ही नहीं सकता है. So it's like, if I am invincible, I know that you can't defeat me. I'll just go fearlessly. Sometimes when someone is fearless, एक बार, I don't know if you all saw this video, ये WhatsApp पे घूम रहा था ये video story time पहले. There was a video of a dog in a field, and one lion and one lioness both come near the dog, and the dog starts barking at the lion. देखा है किसी ने? No one has seen? No? I'm surprised. It's there. It's quite a famous video. I'll see if I can find the link. So that dog is so fearless कि वो जाके उस lion और lioness को ना जोर जोर से भौंकता है. He barks at them that they go back. मतलब डर के मारे वो इतना जोर से उन पे भौंक रहा है. They try to come near him. He again barks at them. But fearless. So if someone is fearless, automatically सामने वाला डर जाता है. Automatically, and अगर उसमें भी शक्तिशाली भी हो और fearless हो फिर तो पूरे ही डर जाते हैं. So this is what happened. So with the fighting spirit, this Hiranyaksha took a club and went all over the world. So Srila Prabhupada makes a point here that the demoniac spirit, okay, the demoniac spirit is to train all the family members how to exploit the resources of this universe. ये demoniac, so Hiranyaksha was trained by by the elder brother. बड़ा भाई उसको क्या ट्रेनिंग दे रहा है कि ऐसे जाके सब रिसोर्सेज वर्ल्ड का लेके आओ, सबको हरा के. So this is the training that he is giving to his brother, right? So it is a demoniac spirit to train the family members to exploit resources of the universe for personal use. This is demoniac. No, this is what unfortunately most parents are training their child, right? We train our children ki "अरे जाओ, earn money, बड़े बनो, ये करो, वो करो." No harm. I'm not saying it's wrong, but just from a Vedic perspective, to understand Prabhupada is saying demoniac. If that's all, see, you can train them to be ambitious. You can train your children to be ambitious. You can train them to go out and do well. But what is the purpose of that? If the purpose is पैसे कमाओ, शादी करो, मजे करो, if that is the purpose, then it is demoniac. But if the purpose is good, earn lot of money, बड़े आदमी बनो, but use that money in Krishna's service, that is devotional, right? So the godly spirit, he says, the demoniac spirit is to train the family members to exploit resources of the universe for personal use. But the godly spirit is to engage everything in the service of the Lord, right? Yat karoshi, yat ashnashi, yat juhosi, tadasi yat, yat tapasisi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpana. What Krishna says in the Gita, that use all this in my service, dedicate it to me. That is godly spirit. So like this, He went all over the universe and he conquered all directions, the lower planetary systems. He went to the higher planetary system, the heavenly planets. He went there also. All the demigods, out of fear, they hid. They went and hid. छुप गए वो लोग. Because इससे कौन लड़ेगा? But so as I said, one is power given by the boons, and second the fearless thing. No, no, to attack. कोई आने दो सामने में attack करो. डर ही नहीं. तो ऐसे व्यक्ति के साथ कोई लड़ना भी नहीं चाहता है. So they all went and hid. So he was laughing, at them कि क्या ऐसा डर गए मेरे से, like that. So then he goes and he dives into the ocean. ऐसे sporting, he dives into the ocean and he goes to the abode of Varun Dev. Now, who is Varun Dev? Varun Dev is the lord of the ocean, right? The water, whatever water bodies are there, Varun Dev is the lord of that. And uh, it is described that when Hiranyaksha jumped into the water, all the aquatic, whatever creatures are there, they all ran helter skelter in fear because he jumped into the water. और पानी में आके भी उत्पात मचा रहा है. He's like striking his mace, he's making a lot of noise. So they all went to Varun and said, बचाओ, कुछ तो करो. So then this person comes to Varuna's abode and he meets Varuna and very sarcastically, मतलब वो mocking way में जाके उसके पैर में पड़ जाता है. He falls at his feet, that, oh supreme lord, please give me battle. मतलब मुझे आपके साथ लड़ने का शौक है, मैं आपके साथ लड़ना चाहता हूँ. He knows that Varuna, if I battle with him, I will kill him. He can't fight with me. इसको मालूम है. उसीलिए वैसे जाके ऐसा होना जैसे एकदम मैं बहुत वीक हूँ बट मुझे आपके साथ लड़ना है प्लीज ऐसा मॉकिंग वे मजाक उड़ाते हुए he goes to him like that. And Prabhupada makes this point over here that war mongering materialists always create fighting without reason. It's a powerful point. Prabhupada says that बिना कारण बहुत इस दुनिया में भी सी ना बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो बिना कारण इस दुनिया में लड़ते हैं. They create fights out of nothing. There is no need to fight. They fight. As today our Madhavan Prabhu was telling one story, the Bhagavatam class, that one time, one man and woman, they were fighting like anything, and they went to court for divorce. Divorce के लिए वो लोग ने कोर्ट में जाके डाल दिया, अर्जी डाल दिया. So कोर्ट में जो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स चल रहे थे, तभी जज ने पूछा what is man's side, what is woman's side. So man is saying, I am engineer, so I want that my son becomes engineer. And wife says, I am doctor, so I want my son to be doctor. और उनका इसके ऊपर लड़ाई चल रहा है and it's come to so much, इतना लड़ाई हुआ है कि can't stay in each other, हमको एक साथ रहना ही नहीं है, हमको divorce चाहिए. So जज बोलता है एक बार लड़के से भी पूछते हैं कि उसको क्या चाहिए, इसको इंजीनियर बनाना है, उसको डॉक्टर बनाना है, लड़के से पूछो ना उसको क्या चाहिए. They look at him, क्या बात कर रहे हो जज साहब, हमारा अभी तक बच्चा हुआ ही नहीं है. They have not even had the child, but now only they are fighting कि अगर बच्चा हुआ तो डॉक्टर बनेगा या इंजीनियर बनेगा. So what Madhavan Prabhu is making a point is that fighting, कलयुगा में fighting बिना कारण छिड़ जाता है. नहीं मतलब ऐसा बाइक चला के लेके जा रहा है, गाड़ी चला के, मेरे साथ हुआ है, 2-3 बार हुआ है. Once near Kurla, I was driving towards office, BKC जा रहा था. And suddenly at one एक ये था क्या बोलते हैं क्रॉसिंग था. वो क्रॉसिंग पे एक बाइक वाला गलत साइड से, मतलब ही केम फ्रॉम, अभी आई एम गोइंग दिस वे, तो ये पैरेलल जो लेन है जो ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन में आना चाहिए, वो ही इज गोइंग फ्रॉम द अदर साइड इन माय डायरेक्शन, मतलब ही इज गोइंग अगेंस्ट द ट्रैफिक. फिर वो ऐसे आके ही ट्राई टू जॉइन अवर लेन, बिकॉज़ उसको यहाँ पे ट्रैफिक दिखा तो उसने वो लेन पकड़ लिया और ही ट्राई टू जॉइन आवर लेन. एंड सडनली आ गया, मतलब मैं देखा भी नहीं था, सडनली क्या ऐसा है ना, तो जोर से मैंने हॉर्न करके ब्रेक मारा, हॉर्न किया है ना, क्या है, दिस गाय गेट्स ऑफ हिज बाइक, बाइक से उतर के ऐसा बोलते हैं ना मराठी में दांडगा गड़ी, ऐसा एकदम दांडगा गड़ी आदमी आके क्या है, काय को हॉर्न बजाता है, बोला बाबा हमसे गलती हो गई, आप प्लीज जाओ, right? वो लड़ाई करेंगे तो हमको ही मार के चला जाएगा, उससे बेटर ऐसे सॉरी, आई एम सॉरी, हमसे गलती हुई। So such people are there. They want to fight at any cost. War mongering, great fighting without reason. So Hiranyaksha is like that. He goes to Varuna and says, "लड़ाई करो ना, please." तो Varuna is actually getting very angry. You can imagine, no? कोई आके ऐसा मजाक उड़ा के बोलता है आपको कि अरे लड़ना मेरे साथ, no? So उनको गुस्सा आ रहा रहता है, वो अपने गुस्से को कंट्रोल करते हैं। He controls because if he gets angry, बोलते हैं ना anger is one letter short of danger. Anger and danger में खाली एक letter का difference, and that D is the discrimination. You don't show discrimination, the anger becomes danger. So like that. So Varuna controls his anger and he says, "Oh dear one, oh dear person, अभी हमने ना ये लड़ना वड़ना छोड़ दिया है, अभी हम बहुत बूढ़े हो चुके हैं, we have become very old for combat." And he suggests that why don't you fight with Lord Vishnu? आप देशों के साथ आपका कहाँ कुछ उठना बैठना, हमारे हम तो मतलब आपके लिए स्मॉल फ्राई, यू फाइट विद लॉर्ड विष्णु, इवन पीपल लाइक यू प्रेज लॉर्ड विष्णु कि मतलब वो तो अजीत है, उनका नाम अजीता है, ये अजीत नाम comes from Lord Vishnu by Ajita, that is his name, because he is never defeated in battle, कभी। तो बोलते हैं आप जाके उनके साथ लड़ो ना, मतलब एक टक्कर के आदमी से लड़ो, मेरे साथ क्यों लड़। एंड देन ही सेज बिफोर गोइंग, उनको थोड़ा उकसा के भी भेजते हैं, बोलते हैं ऑन रीचिंग हिम यू विल बी rid of your pride once at once and you will lie down on the field of battle surrounded by dogs for eternal sleep. तुम मतलब खत्म हो जाओगे, मतलब अपने आप को क्या समझते हो। तो बोलते हैं कि in order to exterminate wicked fellows like you and to show his grace to the virtuous, he assumes his various incarnations like Varahadev. So Varuna knows that Lord has incarnated as Varahadev to do what? To recover the earth which has fallen in Garbhodak. तो वरुण को मालूम है गर्भोधक वाटर, तो वाटर बॉडी तो उसका उसका इलाका है ना वो, उसको मालूम है कि वरादेव ऑलरेडी कम, जाके वरादेव से लड़ो ना, मेरे से क्या लड़ रहे हो, अब वरादेव से लड़ोगे तो तुम मर जाओ, उसको उकसाते हैं। So now Hiranyaksha is very उकसाता है कि चलो अभी मैं दिखाता हूँ, तो he doesn't even ask Varun where to find him, he asks नारद मुनि, नारद मुनि को पूछते हैं और नारद मुनि को मिलते हैं, बोलते हैं कि कहाँ मिलेंगे ये वरादेव, नारद मुनि बराबर एड्रेस देते हैं उसको, जीपीएस कोऑर्डिनेट्स दे देते हैं, यहाँ जाओ तुम, यहाँ पे मिलेंगे। So when he goes, it is described, he comes out to the ocean and he finds Varadev. And when he sees Varadev, he doesn't know who is Varadev, खाली नाम सुना है Varadev Varadev, तो वहां जाके देखते हैं that Varadev has just lifted the earth from the Garbhodak ocean. And when he sees Varadev, he starts deriding him, insulting. Oh, amphibious beast, मतलब this is the words he uses ना, मतलब ये भागवतम में ऐसा दिया गया है कि amphibious beast, beast, तो मतलब animal है, you're an animal. And he says, he calls them all kinds of names. He says, you're a fool, you're a rascal. He says, I will enliven my kinsmen, मेरे relatives को मैं उत्साहित करूंगा करके, I will kill you and I will enliven my kinsmen. So like this he tells him, and then after that, I'm sorry, I know you keep stopping. नहीं नहीं, आज पता नहीं चल रहा है। हरे कृष्ण। So he calls them all kinds of bad names. I'll enliven my relatives by killing you. when you fall dead with your skull smashed by my mace, my gala, which I will throw at you, the demigods and sages who offer yajna and oblations to you, they will automatically cease to exist, like a tree without roots. So, इसके ऊपर ना प्रभुपाद अच्छा, so that I'll come to that, but first I'll say that our acharyas, and in various places they do this. The acharyas, when they see that even a demon, see Bhagavatam, there are many places where there are prayers which are sung by the devotees of the Lord. Very beautiful, elaborate prayers. तो एकदम सुंदर तरीके से एक एक भगवान के अंग के ऊपर, उनके गुणों के ऊपर, उनकी लीलाओं के ऊपर beautiful descriptions are given by the devotees. Bhagavatam is full of prayers like that. But there are places where the Lord comes in front of a demon and that demon starts blaspheming the Lord, starts criticizing him. उनका शोषण करते हैं, like that. So at that time, our acharyas take those verses and in those verses they twist the meaning to show how actually this is glorification of the Lord. So either be in this whole section, those 3-4 verses where Hiranyaksha is blaspheming, the Lord Varahadev. That time, Sridhar Swami gives various, different sweet interpretations of how actually his words are glorifying the Lord. So like that. So the point that is being made here, he says that after you fall dead, he tells Varahadev that after you fall dead, the demigods and sages who offer you oblations and sacrifices in devotional service, they will also die. They will cease to exist like trees which don't have roots. Tree कितना भी बड़ा हो, अगर उसका root काट दो, tree मर जाता है. Correct? So we describe in our Krishna consciousness philosophy that Krishna is like the root of the tree. If you water the root of the tree, then you don't have to separately water the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the fruits. कोई अपने fruits flowers पे कोई पानी छिड़कता है क्या? नहीं, जरूरत नहीं. अगर आपने रूट्स में पानी डाला, ऑटोमेटिकली उनको भी मिल जाता है. वैसे ही all the demigods, all the devi devatas, all the pitri, everyone, if we satisfy Krishna, everyone is satisfied. There is a story in the Mahabharata which describes that, right? And that Akshay Patra, when the Lord eats that one grain, one leaf, and with that all Vishnu, this one Durvata and 50,000 disciples are all satisfied. 10,000, they're all satisfied, right? So if the Lord, what is that? Yasmin Tushte Jagat, Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushnam. So Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushnam. So because he is the root, if he is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. So he says, I will cut the root. मैं भगवान को ही निकाल दूंगा. फिर देखते हैं आप लोग क्या करते हो. सब डेमिगॉड, सब ये ऋषि मुनि सब खत्म हो जाएंगे. मतलब ना रहेगा बांस, ना बजेगी बांसुरी. पूरा मैं रूट से ही काट दूंगा, भगवान को ही निकाल दूंगा पीछे से. This is how the demons think. So Prabhupada is saying, very interesting. Prabhupada says that demons are very much disturbed when the devotees worship the Lord in the prescribed way recommended in the scriptures. Demons are disturbed. तो नहीं अच्छा लगता. जैसे हमारे इस्कॉन मंदिर में हम लोग जो सुबह 4:30-5 बजे मंगल आरती करते हैं, तो सही क्या है, डिस्टर्बेंस है. जगन्नाथ रथ यात्रा करते हैं, people don't like. They say, what is this disturbance? हरे कृष्णा कर रहे हैं. अरे दिन भर क्या क्या चलते रहता है रास्ते पे, but people don't bother about that. But the moment someone shows that scripture को हम फॉलो करेंगे और हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे, immediately लोगों को डिस्टर्ब होता है. ये क्या है, ऐसा सब ये वो ज्यादा हो गया, इतना सब करने का जरूरत नहीं है. ये उम्र है करने का, हाँ? ये उम्र है, ये उम्र में बैठ के सत्संग अटेंड कर रहे क्या है, हाँ? People will start talking like that to you. So Prabhupada is saying they're very disturbed when devotees worship the Lord. This is demoniac nature. And he says that devotees accept the Lord is the root of everything. Therefore, the demon wants to approach this source, because if the root, Lord, were to be checked, the activities of the Lord and the devotees would automatically stop. This is their assumption कि भगवान नहीं रहेंगे तो कौन devotees क्या उनका कोई दम ही नहीं है, हाँ? Because they think that like me, God is also a temporary creation. Like he calls them an animal. He thinks he has a material body. So ये material body को मैं खत्म कर दूंगा तो भगवान खत्म, भगवान खत्म तो ये सब क्या है, डेमिगॉड्स को जिनको कोई शक्ति नहीं रहा है. This is the attitude. This is demonic attitude. We have to be very careful that we don't have this attitude. हम लोग भी कभी-कभी ऐसा सोच सकते हैं. Be very careful that how we interact with the Lord, how we interact with the Lord's holy name, with His devotees. Be very careful. Don't become like a demon, right? So, yeah, and he says, Prabhupada says that the demons would be very satisfied if this situation was there, that as it says, godless society, so that they can do sense gratification without any, आज के तारीख में अगर मैं कुछ sense gratification करना चाहता हूँ, तो दो बार सोचूंगा ना, अरे नहीं यार, ये करूंगा तो, there will be someone, the lawmakers will come after me, police will come after me. दो बार आदमी सोचता है, बिकॉज है पुलिस काम कितना करता है वो अलग बात है, बट है तो सही ना, दे आर देयर. नाउ if I am afraid that police is there, then I will be little at least in check. If I am fearless, I don't care, police का सिस्टम है मैंने खत्म कर दिया, I've killed all the police, I've killed all the army, then मुझे कौन रोक सकता है, मुझे जो करना है मैं करूँ. This is demoniac mentality. Even if we are doing it in our own homes, thinking मुझे कौन देख रहा है, who can stop me? मेरी वाइफ मेरे को रोकेगी, मेरा पति मुझे रोकेगा, है? कौन रोक सकता है मुझे? कोई नहीं रोक सकता, मुझे जो करना है मैं करूँ. Demoniac mentality, like that. So very beautifully it is described that when he was using these sharp, arrows, words, which are criticizing the Lord, that I will smash your skull and you'll be lying dead, and ये वो सब जो बोलते हैं ना, it is described the Lord was pained by his words. The Lord was pained by the shaft-like abusive words of the demon, but he bore the pain. उन्होंने tolerate किया. So the acharyas make a very important point here. Prabhupada makes a very important point. The Lord is also sentient like you and me. He also has feelings. He is not just some deity sitting in temple. है बस वो है, हाँ बस वो है. No, he also has feelings. When we lovingly, he says, no, patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami pradatmana. He says, if you offer me with love and devotion, see, it's not about we put food on a plate and throw it on the altar. Ding, 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 बोल दिया, रख दिया, निकल गए. No, that is not offering. When we offer, we should offer with love. Then the Lord says, Ashnami, I will accept it. Right? So Lord accepts the love if we offer with love. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. More effort we put, the more we try to connect with the Lord is pleased. In the same way, if he is pleased by the sweet prayers of the Lord, he is praised by the sweet offerings to the Lord, he is praised, someone offered a beautiful garland, right? That the Lord is pleased by that. Similarly, if someone decries his existence, God doesn't exist. ऐसे एक एक लोग हैं ना जो बोलते हैं God doesn't exist. There is no God. Everything happened by chance. ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो बोलते हैं सब कुछ चांस से हो गया. Or some say God is there, but he is not person. He is just some energy, this impersonal energy which has no hands, no legs, no eyes, no ears, no nothing, no senses. Just impersonal Brahman. So anyone who decries his existence or calls it ill names, God feels bad. He is a sentient person like you and me. Right? So very important point Prabhupada makes. So he somehow ignores the insult. Why? because he has a job to do. What is the job? He has picked up the earth from Garbhoda ocean. पानी से बाहर आए नहीं कि यहाँ पे ये हिरण्याक्ष हाजिर और उनको पूरा भरा सुना रहे, right? So the Lord tolerated him to just please the demigods and to show them that when you are discharging your duties, don't be afraid of the demons. जो आपका कर्तव्य कर रहे हो, आपका जो काम है, कर्म है जो आप कर रहे हो, वो कर्म करते टाइम don't think about what someone is cursing you from behind. So when Hiranyaksha is talking like this to the Lord, what does the Lord do? Lord Varahadev just goes and places the earth planet on the surface of the ocean. Now the earth planet starts floating by the potency of the Lord. It doesn't sink again. He leaves it on the surface of the water, but the earth is situated nicely. So Prabhupada makes the point that when you are doing, and at that time also Hiranyaksha is insulting him. अरे you are running away from battle. मैं आपको challenge किया, आप भाग रहे हो, मेरे को पीठ दिखा रहे हो. The Lord doesn't bother. He quietly goes, does that, and then he comes back to fight him. Right? Then he challenges him to a fight. So then they start fighting. It is described, a long description given in the 18th and 19th chapter of third canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. How Varahadev and Hiranyaksha were fighting. They are fighting with their maces, Gada. Gada युद्ध चल रहा था. Sometimes Hiranyaksha would try to strike Varahadev, and just as it's about to hit his temples, यहाँ पे मारने, तभी Varahadev dodges with his mace, and it just scrapes him and goes. And sometimes Varahadev tries to hit this one Hiranyaksha, and Hiranyaksha also dodges. So lot of striking, lot of dodging, lot of maneuvering, either udhar, like two description is given like two bulls that are fighting for a cow. ऐसा उनका powerful लड़ाई चल रहा है, and in that fight it is going on for a while. Lot time उसमें चला जाता है. अभी भगवान ने क्या बोला था? Lord Vishnu had said that it is by my desire that this Jain Vijay are coming here, because ये वीर यश मेरे को किसी के साथ करने को नहीं मिलता है. I don't get to fight because everyone is only worshipping my lotus feet. हाँ, किसके साथ लड़ूं? तो ये मौका मिल रहा है तो भगवान की थोड़ा स्पोर्टिंग भी थे, वो भी लड़ रहे हैं कि अरे मजा आ रहा है, चलो बहुत थोड़ा किसकी लड़ते हैं. They are fighting. And then ऊपर से ब्रह्मा and all the demigod they are getting worried. इसमें भगवान खत्म करो ये लीला, कितना खींचोगे? So Brahma comes on the spot. He urges the Lord that my Lord, finish this fight quickly. इसको खत्म करो जल्दी. Why? He says because this person Hiranyaksha is a nuisance. वो जहां भी जाता है वो न्यूसेंस क्रिएट करता है. He creates fear in the mind of everybody. उत्पात मचाता है, तो इसको अभी मार दो. Don't play with him. He says that the evening is approaching. डिमोनियक आवर जो टाइम में डीमंस को शक्ति बढ़ जाता है, वो समय अभी कुछ ही समय में आने वाला है. एंड जो ऑस्पिशियस टाइम चल रहा है जिसे अभिजीत कहते हैं, देयर इज अ ऑस्पिशियस टाइम कॉल्ड अभिजीत. एट दैट टाइम व्हाटएवर यू डू इट इज सक्सेस. दिस इज दैट अभिजीत आवर इज अबाउट टू एंड. अभी खत्म होने वाला है, तो आप ये इनके साथ जो लड़ने का आपका चल रहा है, टाइम पास चल रहा है, उसे प्लीज अभी खत्म करो. So when he says this, it is described that after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were very sweet as nectar, ब्रह्मा जी जब कुछ कहते हैं भगवान को, it comes out as beautiful poetry. Very nicely he says a lot that Lord, इस लीला खत्म करो, इसको भी खत्म करो, because we can't afford to have him becoming more powerful and this fight continuing, because we have to kill him now. खत्म करना है, chance मिला है, खत्म कर दो इसको. So the Lord, when he hears these words of Brahma, it is described that the Lord laughed heartily. तो मजा आया. Actually, Brahma, you're worried that I won't be able to kill him, so he laughs. He heartily laughs, and then he accepts his prayer with a glance laden with love. बड़े प्रेम से वो ब्रह्मा जी की तरफ देखते. So sweet. You are like it's like the father. If the child is very worried about the father, Papa, it's very late. Like sometimes फादर टेल्स द चिल्ड्रन लेट हो गया अभी घर जल्दी आ जाओ, और कभी फादर लेट कहीं जा रहा है तो पा इट्स सो लेट यू कैन गो आउट नाउ, डोंट गो इट्स सो लेट, द फादर लुक्स वेरी लव, प्रेम से बोल रहा है. So same way Brahma when he tells Lord that please अभी इसको खत्म करो, you know he is going to become more powerful. The Lord with lot of love he looks at Brahma, प्रेम से, glance laden with love, and then he starts fighting again. When he is fighting उनके हाथ से गदा slip हो जाता है. वराहदेव के हाथ में जो गदा है वो slip हो जाता है, and it is described, they have described how it slips also. It slips out of his hand and goes twirling and there are flames coming out of it. मतलब ऐसा वो गिर जाता है. जैसे ही गिरता है all the देवतास start panicking कि ये क्या हो गया, अरे अभी शायद वराहदेव जीत जाए, अपना हिरण्याक्ष जीत जाएंगे. They become panicky, but Hiranyaksha like a true kshatriya he says आपका मेष उठाओ फिर से लड़ो, you know he said I will not fight, निहत्थे से मैं निहत्थे के ऊपर वार नहीं करूंगा. So he gives a chance to the Lord, आप भी लड़ो मेरे साथ, उठाओ आपका गदा और फिर से लड़ो. So the Lord actually appreciates. Described in Bhagavatam, the Lord appreciates this gesture of Hiranyaksha. You didn't, fight with me when you didn't fight with me when I was not having a mace. So the Lord appreciates this, right? So फिर से battle चालू हो जाता है. And then at one point the Lord calls his Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan Chakra भी ready रहता है. Now battle is going on. और फिर क्या होता है? The Lord, hits Hiranyaksha. उनका mace गिर जाता है. And then he has said, no, I will throw my mace at you and I will smash your skull. वगैरह ऐसा कुछ को dialogue मारा रहता है ना. तो वो अपना mace फेंकता है वराहदेव की तरफ. तो Varahadev, he just picks it very nicely, with he doesn't have fingers, no, he's Shukara Rupa, he's coming from a boar. So he just, with his he catches the mace very easily. And he says, वापस, take it back. तो उसको बहुत इंसल्ट हो जाता है, अरे ठीक है मैंने इतने जोर से देखा था, इनमें से पकड़ के मेरे को वापस दे रहे. जैसे कि कोई बच्चे के ऊपर कोई someone, if a child throws something at the father just picks it up and says, ले बेटा वापस ले. तो इसमें उसको बड़ा इंसल्ट हो रहा है, it's getting very insulted. So he tries various weapons, okay, but all the weapons the Lord easily defeats. Finally, what he does, he with his bare hands, he starts going and striking the Lord on his chest, where the Srivatsa mark is there. He starts beating him on the chest. And Prabhupada describes that and Bhagavatam describes that the Lord was enjoying it. बहुत मजा आ रहा था उनको. कोई आपके चेस्ट पे ऐसा मुक्का मार मारे, and कौन? हिरण्याक्ष, super powerful, right? He is attacking the Lord, but Lord is enjoying it. So Prabhupada says that sometimes that when a father is fighting with the son, पिता अपने बच्चे के साथ कुश्ती लड़ रहा है, बच्चा पप्पा को ऐसा मारता है धाड़ धाड़ धाड़, तो फादर को लगता नहीं है, फादर बोलता नहीं कि ये करके उसको वापस मारता नहीं है. The father enjoys it. Ki the son is fighting with me. It's like a very pleasurable experience. Father is fighting with the son. कुश्ती लड़ रहा है, बहुत मजा आता है father. So Prabhupada says he was enjoying it, right? Then he started creating various, conjuring various illusions. That storm was there, stones were showering down, and it's described in Bhagavatam in translation. Prabhupada said like a machine gun. The stones were coming like a machine gun continuously. Gun, 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 as the stones are there from the sky, various demons and everyone. The Lord took his Sudarshan Chakra and all the illusions were gone. Gone in 1 second. And then finally, what the Lord does is, the Lord just slaps him, as is described, just slaps him indifferently. मतलब ऐसे 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 होता है ना बच्चे को, ऐसा indifferently उसको slaps him beneath his ears. अभी भी वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कान पट्टी के नीचे बजाऊंगा करके, हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, थोड़ा स्लैंग हिंदी में. तो ऐसे ही उसको कान पट्टी के नीचे वरादेव ने थोड़ा सा ऐसा थप्पड़ मार दिया. Moment this happened, right? This Hiranyaksha ऐसा चकरा के उसके आंख बाहर आ गए, चकरा के his hair went इधर इधर, and then he falls down to the ground dead. Just small, मतलब इतने टाइम से लड़ाई चल रहा है, एक छोटा सा ऐसा टैप मारा, खत्म. Hiranyaksha finished. Now this is a very beautiful point Prabhupada makes in the purport. He says, actually, however powerful the demons of this world may be, they forget that actually in front of the Lord they're insignificant. In front of the Lord, they're all insignificant. He says, it does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before. बहुत पहले उसको मार सकते थे. But the Lord allowed him to display his full range. उसका पूरा मतलब पिटारा खोलने को उसको चांस दिया. ये मेस उसका एक त्रिशूल भी फेंकता है वो, और कुछ अलग अलग मैजिकल फीट्स, मतलब सब कुछ दिखा दे, जो करना है कर ले, to show all your power. But in front of the Lord, it is insignificant. So the Lord could have taken the mace and smashed him, but no, he purposely just कान पट्टी के नीचे एक छोटा सा थप्पड़ मारा and finished on the spot. So this is very important, that for the demons to understand, no matter how much yogi siddhi you may have, no matter how much wealth you may have, कितना तुमने जिम जाके बॉडी बनाया, कितना तुमने नाम कमाया, कितना तुम शास्त्र में निपुण हो गए, कुछ भी हो, whatever your superpower may be, in front of the Lord it is insignificant. You have to understand. From this story we understand that. So then after that, he is lying there dead, and Brahmaji, all the demigods, they come, they glorify the Lord, and then the Lord returns to his abode. So it is described Akhandita Utsavam. The dham of the Lord is Akhandita Utsavam, place of Akhandita means eternal, Utsavam means festival, right? The Supreme Lord's, the abode of the Supreme Lord is Akhandita Utsavam. It is Vaikuntha. There is no anxiety there. There's only festive like that. So now we come back to Vidura, right? ये story कौन बता रहा है किसको? Sutta Goswami. Sorry, Sutta Goswami said, he says that Vidura, when he heard this story, because he had asked, no, Varahadev का story बताओ करके. तो ये story सुन के Vidura was in full ecstasy. So Sutta Goswami says Vidura is in full ecstasy. And then he says, he makes a beautiful point. He says, what to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord? भगवान वरादेव के pastimes सुन के तो सबको अच्छा लगता है. Everyone likes to hear the pastimes, ना लीला अवतार of the Lord. What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord? He says, people may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees. भक्तों के लीला सुन के, लीला means not लीला, but भक्तों के जो activities है, वो सुन के भी, that devotees can take transcendental pleasure. And it is a fact. When we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it is more about the devotees than the Lord. Devotees का ज़्यादा, उसमें description दिया जाता है. So like that. So finally, then Sutta Goswami gives the phala shruti. What is phala shruti? Phala shruti किसी को पता है क्या है? What is phala shruti? भी आप लोग ने सबने अपना घर बार छोड़ के यहाँ पे शाम के समय आए. I was commenting on another group कि आज IPL का फाइनल है और सब IPL का फाइनल छोड़ के यहाँ पे so many men have come, all glories to you. I am so amazed. Thank you for showing that this is more important. So phala shruti. So Sutta Goswami is telling now who? Shaunakadi Rishi. Oh Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants means speaks, or takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of the killing of Hiranyaksha demon by the Lord, who appeared as the firstborn in order to deliver the world. Whoever hears, speaks, chants, or takes pleasure in this pastime is at once relieved of the result of sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahman. आपका जो भी पाप है आप उससे मुक्त हो जाओ. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity means long life, and all the objects of one desires. One who listens to it at the last moment of life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord, to dear Shaunaka. This is how the narration ends. Jai Shri Varahadev Bhagwan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi. We'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We are on time also. We do kirtan for a few minutes. For those who join online also, thank you very much for joining. Yes, question. Okay, there is a question. Particular Talpa is known as Sri Varaha. Particular pastime happened. So there actually in the previous lecture I had mentioned that actually the जो स्वयंभू मनु ने जो बोला था that lift the earth which has fallen to Garbhodak ocean, that happened in a particular kalpa, okay, in a different kalpa, and the pastime of killing of Hiranyaksha happened in another kalpa, okay, but in the Bhagavatam both these stories have been combined by by Sukadeva Goswami when he's narrating. This is what it is. So yes, some of these pastimes happen again and again. It is described that, like for example, if you see, अभी अगर हम लोग थोड़ा ध्यान से भागवतम पढ़ेंगे, okay, you can get confused also. If you don't have guidance coming from outside, you can get confused. For example, Swayambhu Manu, he is at the start of creation, but he is saying the earth is in the Garbhodak ocean. क्या मतलब है उसका? Earth Garbhodak ocean में कैसे चला गया? Because that happens when there is dissolution, right? When day of Brahma ends, the earth is submerged under the water from Garbhodak ocean. Swayambhu Manu, isn't he at the start of creation? No, this is the start of a new creation. It keeps repeating like that. That is what we are trying to say. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Any other questions, comments before we end? All right. So thank you very much. Shivarade Bhagwan ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So I'll stop recording. We can have kirtan for 5 minutes.